Hey everybody, it's Josie. Welcome back to Cedar Creek Homestead. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. It's rainy and overcast here. The little guys are in the house. Rowdy has a little bit of a congestion, and so we've got him medicine on him and got him in his PJs. He is learning to crawl, and so he's all over the place, mainly scooting. He hasn't quite learned the crawling motion yet, but he'll be there, I would say, within the week. Little Howie, of course, is running everywhere, and he had a doctor's appointment yesterday, just a wellness check, and to make sure, that he's on track. It was time for his appointment. Doesn't have to have another one until November or December, I think, and he, no heart murmurs. He did have a hernia, an umbilical hernia, and that's corrected itself. Doing well with everything else. Had to get a few vaccinations, and I know some are for, some are against on that, and that's neither here nor there. That's a decision that his parents have made, and so he had to get a few vaccinations. So he's running a mild fever today, feeling his Cheerios though. It hasn't slowed him down at all, but he's in there in the house as well. He was out here for a little bit, but my goodness, he was up, down, and around and everywhere. And so I have since taken him back in the house. But anyway, we are, like I said, overcast. It's a nice, cool temperature out here today. And we got one more day of rain this week on Friday. And all the other days are supposed to be nice and sunny, but moderate temperatures, and it's supposed to be cooler than average temperatures next week, and so we're working around that. I know a lot of people have their gardens completely out now. We do not. We are a little bit behind, but I'm okay with that. I've got lots of tomatoes to set out that we grew from seed. I had to restart my pepper seeds. Little Britches, little Howie, he dumped my seed tray over the first time, and the second time it got dumped another way. So I'm on my third planting of peppers and patiently waiting for them, but I've told you this last week, I believe, that I'm probably going to have to buy peppers, and I'll be okay with that. We have a long growing season, and so it's not like that I have a short window frame to get the peppers in. I have plenty of time, and so if I don't get any of my own peppers, then I will just purchase pepper plants, and I'm okay with that. So we're clipping right along. We've got the chickens are doing great. The ones that we have several more orders of chickens coming in. Supposed to be sometime in June. We will be getting some of our turkeys in next week. We've got Royal Palms and Bourbon Red turkeys both ordered. I'm not sure which ones are coming in next week, or if both groups are coming in next week. So we're excited to get turkeys back. We haven't ordered quail yet, or guineas. In fact, we have noticed that there are quite a few local farmers that are starting to have ducks and guineas and different poultry and little piggies and stuff, that are rabbits that are available, and gardening items. And that excites us, because just a few short years ago, it seemed like there wasn't really a whole lot out there as far as people offering to each other. And it seems like within the last couple of years, that's really begun to grow. And so we're excited about that. So I had to get my little boy. He was having a meltdown on the other side of the door, and I couldn't stand it. So he's come out to have the video conversation with us. Now, this past weekend being Mother's Day, I always like to think back on the Mother's Days throughout my life. Me being a mother, grandma, but also when I was a child, and remember what it was like celebrating Mother's Day, but also remembering all the direction that I was blessed with growing up with my mom and my stepmom, my granny, my great aunt, my other aunts. I was surrounded by lovely women, church ladies that counseled and had a lot of great godly advice for me that I wasn't always smart enough to take. And I thought about some of those lessons that I had to learn, and some of them I had to learn 2 or 3 times down through my growing up years. And even since have become an adult, I've learned some of those same lessons again. I'm sure that all of you can say that you've had friends and family members that were trying to make a decision where they were going to do something, and you could see that, just a minute, you could see that it wasn't going to turn out right. And you warned them, you counseled them, and they still went their own way and they did their own thing. A lot of times you'll have a girlfriend will come to you and she'll say, I'm thinking about coloring my hair this color, or I want to cut my hair this way. And, we can see it. And sometimes they think that that's going to be the best haircut in the entire world or the best hair color. And we try to sway them. Okay, thank you, baby. Thank you. Thank you so much. You're going to blow on it like a dandelion? And so we try to counsel them. And how many times have you seen your friend get a horrible haircut or a horrible hair color? Now, when I was a teenager in the 80s, Molly Ringwald was popular. And of course, she was redheaded. I was redheaded. And she was just beautiful, and she was the rage. So my mom and I talked about haircuts. No, Hallie. No, Hallie. No. Leave the tomatoes alone. So my mother and I discussed it, and we decided that we really liked the way that Molly Ringwald had her haircut. Now, I'm natural curly haired. You can't tell it a lot, but when my hair is down, it's really extremely curly. It's not as red as it used to be. A lot of people don't even realize that I'm redheaded. But anyway, I thought this would be the perfect cut for me. And my mom gave me counsel that our neighbor lady could cut my hair. I had other people saying, don't do it. It's not the right cut for your face and just all the things. And the way that my hair is. Now, I don't know if Molly Ringwald's hair was natural curly or she had a perm or whatever it was. But when I got finished with my haircut, it was obvious. Uh-oh, you got dirt on your face. You got dirt on your face. Yeah. Where'd you get that? Yeah, where'd you get that? So, when the haircut was over with, it was obvious that I did not make a good choice. That I should have listened to those that were counseling me not to get the haircut, and that I probably should have gone to a salon and got it done. And I had to suffer with that haircut until it grew out. And of course, her little haircut that with the little bob, my hair didn't do that. It was too heavy. Needless to say, I got a horrible, horrible haircut. Not even younger than that, I was spending time with my aunt, and she didn't drive. So she had a little friend that lived down the street from her, and so we walked down there, and we spent time with her. And there was a door that was always closed. So I was probably 4 or 5 years old at the most. When we got there to visit, and she very plainly said, don't go through this door. Well, to me, that was like giving me an invitation, blinking lights, and arrows flashing. Go through the door, go through the door, go through the door. What I didn't know is this door that you go through actually led to her basement. And when you went through the door, you were on the landing, and you had to turn and go down the stairs. And they didn't have any railing at the top, which is really a dangerous thing. But for some reason, they didn't have the railing. Or it could have been that I was too short for the railing to do me any good. And so when I went in, it was dark, of course, because you had to switch a light on to go down into the basement. I went through the door thinking that I was going to this marvelous place, and I was going to, I don't know what I thought, really. But what happened was I walked right off of the edge of that landing and fell to the bottom. It hit the basement, the concrete floor in the basement. And it hurt. It hurt me pretty bad. And I laid there for a while with the room spinning. I can remember my aunt and her friend coming onto the landing and seeing me lay there on the floor. They tried to warn me, yet I went ahead with my own thoughts and my own plans and my own wishes and desires, because I knew that it was going to be something grand and great for me. Now that can be overlooked because I was a child. I was a little kiddo. The haircut, not so much. I should have known better than to get a horrible haircut just because I wanted to look like somebody out of the movies or out of a magazine. Now I have a friend that is a hairdresser, and she used to cut Howie's hair. He would go in and she would cut his hair for him, and usually he would trim his eyebrows and do that kind of stuff. And one day he asked her, he said, how many people bring a picture out of a magazine in here and expect you to cut their hair and that it's going to turn out right and it's going to look just like the picture? And she told him that you wouldn't, a lot of people expect her to be able to work miracles and to be able to change her. Oh, yeah. What do you got? To change her into, magically be able to change her into the picture that, the person that's in the picture. Of course, we all know that doesn't happen. That's what happened to me with mine. For whatever reason it is, people can't always see the danger that's right out ahead of them. We would counsel Blade, don't get on the pond when it was frozen over in the wintertime. And we trusted that he believed what Mom and Dad were telling him and that he wasn't getting into the pond. Oh, your socks are... Get them socks on like you're supposed to bathe. Get them socks on like you're supposed to bathe. They're hanging low. They're hanging low. No, don't you pull your socks off. Don't you pull your socks off. Don't do that. Don't do that. Oh, look at that bird. Sit. Bird. Bird. Howie came home white-faced, and he had been out at the pond to break ice for the cows to get water. And I asked him what was wrong, and he said, Stace, Blade's footprints are all over out there where he's been on that ice on the pond. Now, here in Oklahoma, we don't get such cold weather usually that the pond ever freezes where the ice is thick enough that you wouldn't fall through. And this was when he was a little bit younger. And so Howie was really concerned that the advice that he had given to Blade and the warnings that he had given to him that Blade hadn't paid attention to. And it really could have been a tragic situation if he'd fell through the ice. We, might not have known and been able to get to him in time to save his life. It's very important on a homestead or a farm that people pay attention to what you're telling them. I know that that we have safety courses here. The firefighters take safety courses. If you've never watched one of the rescues where they rescue people from corn silos, we have a feed silo up here, and Blade was always warned about it. And of course, you have to climb the stairs and get access to it from the top. But there have been farmers and farmers' children that have lost their lives by getting in, falling into the corn, and not being able to get out. And those rescue videos are very interesting to be able to see how that corn moves around in there and just kind of traps you and pulls you in. And it's also interesting to see how the firefighters do their rescues. At the age that Howie is and little Rowdy are, all the way up, you begin to teach your children the dangers that can happen on farms and other places. Just this week, this one learned how to open a car door, so we had to quickly readjust because he got the truck door open and on our way to church, and so his daddy had to engage the child locks. Normally the truck locks when you get to a certain speed, the truck locks, but he had pulled the latch before it did that, so that particular door wasn't able to engage, but he was in his car seat, so he was protected there. But my brother actually fell out into the road when he was a little boy because the car door got open. And so there's all kinds of things that can happen if we don't listen to the direction that we're given, and we're learning. This one is learning. We have some challenges with that, just like every other child does. But even after childhood into adulthood, we get into trouble because we try to do things on our own. We don't listen. We don't see the danger. And for whatever reason, we think we're gaining something. And if we would just listen to wise counsel, the Bible talks about listen to godly counsel, wise counsel. Surround yourself with those types of friends, those people that will give you wise and a godly direction. Howie. And so I thought that I would just try to encourage your hearts. We know that we hear all kinds of news today and all kinds of stories, and stories that would cause us to be reactionary. Yeah. Cause us to want to jump out and do something because of the news. Because of the news that we're hearing. Make us want to invest, or make us want to pull our money out of things, or make us want to do one thing or another. And we really need to weigh our options, pray about it, get direction on what we should do before we just jump into it head first. We need to continue to prepare. I know that the prices at the grocery store, and if you buy groceries, you know it, the prices at the grocery store have not gone down significantly. Maybe on certain items, but on most things they have not gone down. Some of the items, the price is high, and the product has shrank and is smaller, and so you're getting less product at the same time. We know that the things that we're being told are not all truthful things, and we need to be wise about those things. We need to ponder and really know before we make decisions that will affect the rest of our lives. Howie, you're going to get a fish hook in your hand. This would be a perfect opportunity to go on here, but it's not going to be fun for you to do it. No. Now, all of this reminds me of a fable. Now, I've told you guys some of Aesop's fables before, and Aesop had a lot of fables that he told about animals. And one of his stories about a donkey that was going up a mountainside, and he was being driven by his owner. The owner was behind him, and he had a little stick, and he was encouraging that donkey to climb up that mountaintop. And the little donkey was going, and they were enjoying the day. And all of a sudden, the donkey got something in his head, and he bolted off away from his owner and right to the edge of a bluff. And the little donkey decided that life would be so great if he just was to take a plunge off of there and to get to whatever it was that he had his eyes cast on. So the owner ran over to him and got him by the tail and tried with all of his might to pull the donkey back to keep him from jumping off of this bluff, off of this cliff. And the donkey persisted and pulled and yanked and tried to get away from his owner. And finally, the owner let go and let the donkey make his own decision. The owner was wise enough to know what was going to happen to the donkey. But he knew that if he held on to the donkey and he tried with all of his might to keep the donkey from making this terrible, terrible mistake, that it was going to cost him his life too. And so he had to let go and let the donkey do his thing. The owner knew that the donkey was going to pay the ultimate price. And he warned the donkey by yanking on his tail and holding on, but to no avail. And so when he finally came to the conclusion that the donkey was going to conquer no matter, the owner had to decide to let the donkey do it at his own cost. conquer the mountain, but do it at his own cost. And that's what we have to weigh when we're making decisions. Now, the donkey was foolish and he lost his life in his jump. But the owner could also have done that. But he held on to that donkey because the donkey was stronger and was at the edge there and would have pulled the owner over too. We have to be wise. Shh, 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 shh. Listen for just a minute, please. Howie. So the owner knew. Come here. Come here. Come here. Get off the tomatoes and come here. Yeah. Yeah. So that, okay, just a minute. That should remind us to not get involved with foolish counsel, not be directed by foolish counsel, not fall victim to their leading astray, but to consider the cost and realize the payment that we're going to have to pay, to take the good instruction and to push away the bad. The advice that I would leave you with today is to know the voices that are leading you. Those that are out in front of you saying, follow me. You know, my mama would have said, if they all jump off the bridge, are you jumping off too? Something serious to think about. If everybody else in the folly makes this mistake, are you going to make the mistake as well? And I hope the answer is no. Pay attention to your counsel. Know who's giving you direction. And make up your own mind. Stay away from those bad haircuts. Those bad color choices. Until next time, guys, this is Josie and little Howie. I love you guys. I really do. Keep looking well to the ways of your household. And until next time, we're gone.